coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Float, Odyssey, Telegram, and now Twitch. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim, and today is June 19th, 2022, and this is episode 130 of the Workshop Podcast. So tonight we have, well, it's going to be great. I got James from Gingerbread Farm coming on in just a minute. We're going to do, it's actually going to be great. I'm excited because we're going to talk about electric vehicles. But before that, we'll get our housekeeping out of the way. First off, Thursday night is the next episode. It's going to be a special, it's a little early, half hour early, 6:30 Mountain Time. We got Cam and Colby from the Casual Preppers podcast coming on. It's going to be, I'm excited. So just remember, half hour early, 6:30 instead of 7. CanadianCoffeeCompany.ca is now live. Take a minute, go by, check it out, especially if you're from Canada, and get some incredible coffee and support the content that we create. And number 3, we are with the TikTok account, just blew past 2,000 followers last night, and now we are up over 2,200 this evening. So if you're interested and you want to see some shorter versions of the reviews I do, anything like that whatsoever, then you are absolutely welcome to go by there and check it out. Hey, Martinson family, and today's tool. So we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll bring James right on. It's DECON 30. So I had a tenant call me a couple days ago and said, hey, I know the house was clean before we moved in, but with this dampness, there seems to be a bit of a pet odor coming out of the floors. They want to know what is the product to use to clean it up. And for me, it's always been DECON 30. It's 100% all natural, and the shit just works. So if you're checking it out, description here, description on the live feed or the audio, and you can find the link there. And if you pick anything up or head by that way, it supports the content. So give me 1 second here, guys. We'll bring James in. Hey, James, how are you?
Hello.
Hey,
I'm good.
Excellent. Yeah, we're great. And I love your shirt. That is a great Star Wars shirt, my friend.
Yes, that is it. It was a gift from my wife because I was born in 1977 and, well.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that makes sense. I love it. Yeah. So that is great. Cool. So tell us a little bit about who actually, I forgot to ask you this. I normally do this before I start the show. How do you pronounce your last name? Because I forgot to ask you.
Sonoa.
Okay, I was right. Good. I wanted to make sure I was, but yeah.
Some Polish. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, right on. So yeah, tell us, James. You're from Gingerbread Farms. Where'd you come from? How'd you end up here? I always ask everybody, what was your first high school job? So you can start there and then fill us in around it if you want.
Oh, first high school job was Burger King, and didn't last very long. Then it was a grocery store, and then it was Subway, which I loved working for Subway.
How long did you work at Burger King?
Oh, very short amount of time. It was, they were, this was like early 90s, early to mid 90s, and they were trying like table service. Oh. So I was hired for table service, and it didn't last long. So
fair enough.
Then I worked at a grocery store for like a year, and then I went to Subway. And this was all in high school.
Nice. Well, that's okay. Hey, at least you worked, right? So yeah. So where'd you come from there? Where were you born? What brings you to the workshop? Fill it all in.
So I was born in Detroit. When I was about 5, we moved to Arizona, and so I mostly grew up in Arizona in Chandler, which is like Southwest Phoenix. And grew up there up through high school, and then ended up in the Marine Corps. Firefighter in the Marine Corps, and then when I got out of the Marine Corps, I moved to Michigan because that's where I was born, and that's where I thought I had family. And it was how I ended up doing what I'm doing. I applied to be a firefighter because I had massive amounts of experience and qualifications. Every school the Marine Corps would give me, I went to. And I was applied at 3 fire departments and was told, sorry about your luck, but affirmative action.
Oh, shoot. Yep. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
so Michigan hired by affirmative action until 2005. So I wasn't able to be a firefighter because
Damn it.
yeah, because of who I am. And so but part of being a firefighter was I had to have my CDL to drive the rigs.
Right.
So I fell back on my CDL. And I've gone back and forth between being either a big truck mechanic or a big truck driver, depending on what the market was.
So let me
And
slide back a little because I don't think I've met a military firefighter before. So what does that entail? I'm sure it's kind of similar, but what kind of special training? What do you do? Yeah.
um, a lot of doing nothing but cleaning and being messed with by the sergeants because firefighting is waiting for airplanes to fall out of the sky. We were airport firefighters.
Oh, okay.
We worked on the airfield. I was stationed in Okinawa first for a year, and then I was stationed in Yuma, Arizona for the rest
Yes,
for like
sir.
3 years.
So more training and contingencies than actual on-hand experience, I'm guessing, for most of the time.
I've been in some messes.
Yep.
Um, Something that applies to me that I'm reading about and I'm terrified to look into is, have you heard about the military and they're just being terrified of all this firefighting foam and firefighting foam residue and stuff like that?
No, I haven't. Okay.
Yeah, so I guess the firefighting foam is made out of what they call forever chemicals, and they have all these horrible effects, and it's impossible to get rid of and stuff like that. And they're like shutting down bases and like um cordoning off areas that have where firefighting foam has been used. Now, that was my job, and there were days that I spent covered in that crap.
That's what I'm thinking.
And
Sure.
I'm terrified to find out because this it was in the 90s before they knew anything was dangerous. We thought it was like soap, you know.
Yes.
Well, it's not apparently.
We
So
used to ride on the back of trucks too, right? So
no,
some
we
of us
didn't
still.
do that.
Oh, no,
Believe-
not you, but yeah, yeah,
or,
yeah.
yeah, we stopped. Yeah, we didn't do that, but
So then you ended up back in
back
Michigan.
in
Is that where you live
Michigan,
presently?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's where I live now.
Where in Michigan?
I'm in the Flint area.
Okay.
The Flint, yeah.
Yeah, my
I'm on
wife.
a well. I'm
Okay.
on a well, so no leaded water,
Poor guy.
unleaded water. Yeah.
No, that's good. And so you got into trucking at that point, and you mentioned what all have you done with trucking over the years?
I've done a lot of tanker, a whole lot of tanker. Right now, I'm doing double dumps though.
Okay.
Big gravel trains. They're only legal in Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, so well, we can take them into Canada. Canada changed their laws. I don't know how much um about the Canadian trucking and weight laws and stuff like that.
I drove a couple smaller, they basically the size of a dump truck, but two of them hooked together for a while, and you'd have to jackknife and dump or whatever. But I don't know a whole lot about the laws for sure.
Yeah, Canada has some interesting weight laws, and we had to buy special trailers. But ever since COVID, my boss has basically decided we are not going to Canada anymore.
Fair.
So
Yeah, I can understand that. Hopefully, it sounds like it's changing, but we don't need to get down that, do we? We
right,
beat that
well,
dead horse forever.
he's got like 60 drivers. I am one of three that is vaccinated.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah,
So 0.5%. I don't.
yeah,
I mean,
I
yeah,
know. I traveled last year to the States, and I'd love to have an event up here next year, but the only way it's going to happen for most of my friends is if they remove all the restrictions. And here's hoping. They keep pulling them back, but I don't know. I just get tired of hitting my head against a wall about it.
yeah. And I'm worried about what they did to all the truckers.
I know.
They locked down all their money and stuff like that.
Yeah, I had a cousin who lost his job. So yeah. So and then apparently I didn't realize, but you worked in the oil patch for a bit, or at least servicing the oil patch, eh?
Yes, I hauled production water and oil.
Okay.
And oh man, I've had to clean out heater treaters, which is a very dirty job where we clean out the heater treater and replace the anode. I don't know if
Oh,
you've done any of that work at all or not.
I've had friends who have, but I have not. So that's
Yeah.
miserable stuff.
So Continental was having a problem with heater treaters exploding because they're, basically boiling the oil. And they've got these giant magnesium blocks that are grounded to the tank, and they dissolve instead of the tank resting.
Yes.
So what we would have to do is we would back two vac trucks up and have a Y, and there's a what they call a witch's hat filter on one side,
Okay.
and the other side had wide open, and we were using 3-inch pipe. And we'd suck the tank through the witch's hat on one side until it plugged up. And then he would switch to blow and blow a little bit out to clear the filter, and the dirty truck would suck that in, and then we'd suck all the mud out.
Oh,
And then once they sucked all the mud out into the dirty truck, then they would remove the old anode, put a new anode in, and we'd blow the water oil mixture, because they're separating the oil and the water there.
yep.
And we'd blow that back in and move to the next one. And eventually, it's like 7 or 8 heater treaters to fill the mud truck, but we had to take the mud truck to a solids disposal. And
Sure.
I mean, it was nasty, disgusting stuff. It was horrible. Yeah.
And we chatted a little before we went live there, but you did a little bit of winter driving up that way, did you? Nighttime winter driving?
Yes. And it's hard to, people won't believe it, but on the prairies, it's actually warmer at night because there's no wind.
Yep.
Like when we were doing the heater treater cleanouts, we actually got shut down one day because it was negative 35, no, negative 50 with a 35-mile-an-hour wind, and some of our trucks the hydraulic lines were freezing and bursting.
Sure. Yeah. Been there, done that. Oh, did I lose you, James? Might have froze there for a second. That's all right. Had just before we went live here, guys, James dropped off right quick, and that's crazy. His audio and his video has been really good, but I can tell you, here, I will drop him off and we'll see if he pops back on right quick. Yeah, so for us back in the day when we had to do, let's just hold on here. There, see if he comes back on. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so we used to have hydraulic lines that would freeze like crazy. I had his name was Paul, a Newfoundland. He was an operator that ran one of our rigs. And when it ever got below minus 30, he would just plug his in and he would turn it on, and he would never shut his diesel rig off. For Dan said he can fill in. Yeah, appreciate it. So yeah, he would absolutely never shut it off. So it would run for about 3 months straight. I cannot imagine the amount of diesel that would have been required. And here we are getting ready to talk about electric vehicles. And I do not know. Anyway, so he would leave it run. And then there was many occasions. Of course, the colder things got, the slower they moved, the more pressure it put on hydraulic systems, and the more that those lines would creak and pop. And I remember one time we were down south, I want to say in Kindersley, Alberta, Saskatchewan, which is south of where I am by a couple of hours. And the closest place to us was here. So we busted a hydraulic line. I had to go back to town to pick one up. And then I think I made 3 round trips, because we didn't have enough hydraulic fluid, ended up spilling some hydraulic fluid, had to get a vac truck, hydrovac in to clean up the mess. And it was just absolutely miserable. But yeah, it was never, ever a good time. So we can do a quick little, if anyone else is out there in the audience at the moment, you got any questions you want to throw up, we can run them. Strange things happen when we're on live television, even though we're on live internet. And I have no clue how long it'll be till James pops back on. As I was doing my intro, he dropped off and came right back on, but he's not here right at the moment. Martinson family says, I had a buddy who farmed around here and had a VW Golf as a field car. He started in September and left running. Oh, I believe it. Yeah, it's hard to believe when minus 40. There's plenty of times when I forgot to plug my vehicle in and it just won't start. The only way to start it is to boost it with someone else's vehicle. And I know when you live where it doesn't get that cold, sometimes you don't think about it and you figure, oh, the vehicles will be acclimatized to it. But nope, not at all. What else can I fill you in on? So tonight was the very first night that we decided, or that I set up a Twitch account. We now have a Twitch stream that's there. So you can, if anybody's out listening to Twitch or using Twitch, you can follow us there. Beyond that, I'm kind of excited. The TikTok account, like I said. Oh, and there's James. We'll bring him back. Hey, bud, how are you? Don't you worry
my
a bit.
phone, my computer died, and its Windows is doing something. So I'm on my phone, so I'm sure my audio died on you.
No, you're good. Yeah, you're okay. We filled in, and yeah, so we were talking about, you did some winter driving up in North Dakota, right, bud?
Yeah, and there was when there was a point where the things were freezing solid. There was actually at night we were sleeping in the trucks, basically living in the trucks.
Yep.
And in order to the trucks would actually stall because it's so cold. In order to keep the motors warm enough, we would have to engage our PTOs and be circulating hydraulic oil just so the diesel motor would stay warm enough to stay running. You still weren't getting any heat off of it because it was just that cold.
Everything wants to die when it's that cold. If you've never experienced minus 40 with some wind, you just don't know, because like it's like you're fighting literally against time, because you have seconds to keep things going.
Yes. Yeah, you have to keep things covered up and stuff like that. And you're always in your gloves. I made the mistake one time of bringing my phone out. It lasted, I don't know, 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, dead. And it was throw it back in the truck, warm it back up.
So how did, for a feller that drives daily, well, mostly anyway, great big rigs that burn diesel, how in the hell did you end up becoming into electric vehicles and knowing enough to come on in and chat about it, which I love?
Part of it is I went, after I got out of the Marine Corps, I went to college to become an electronic engineer. So cool. I've got a lot of knowledge about electricity, but my GI Bill ran out before I graduated. So lots of fun stuff there. Yeah, I learned that you don't qualify for financial aid if you get the GI Bill.
Oh, fair.
So
not fair, but yeah.
Yes. I know a lot of Marines, and I don't know any of them that aren't, let's just say, not fans of the government.
Yeah, I get it.
But really, it goes honestly all the way back to like 4th grade. There was a book that came out that was 50 things you can do to save the earth.
Really?
Yeah, it was a little paperback book, and I was just into it. And then the Exxon Valdez happened, which I don't know how many people are old enough to even remember what that was. I did my annual in-depth report on the Exxon Valdez, and then like all the state reports that they make you do for when you're going through school. I always did Alaska.
Okay.
Which is one of 2 states I have not been to. I have never been to Alaska, and I've never been to Hawaii, but I've driven to every other state.
Nice.
So I've always been kind of the environmentalist, but my job was oil.
Yep.
But being in the oil field and stuff like that, and then after the oil field for 5 years, I hauled gasoline.
Oh, okay.
So I hauled gasoline to the gas stations, and like the guy on, I think it's Fireside Freedom, he must work for like Oscar Larson or something like that, because I know everything he's talking about when he's talking about the pumps and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Brian Alexovich from the Lots Project. Yeah, he's on Fireside, and yes, yeah, he's a pump technician. So
yeah, and he's probably told you that if you spend more than 5 minutes at a gas station, never in your life will you ever say no one's that stupid.
Those are almost his exact words.
You just do not believe the stuff that happens at gas stations, especially at night. It's crazy. It's crazy insane. But I'd watch. There's like allocations. There was allocations for delivering oil too. But you look at allocations, and I learned about allocations and picking up oil and stuff like that, and I'm like, this isn't sustainable. and they are absolutely, accidentally on purpose going to do stuff. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
And so I kind of saw it coming. And then there's the prepper in me that was like, you know what? I can make electricity at home, but I can't make gas.
Right.
The downside, the frustrating thing is with what's his name? The vice president that flew around in the airplane and told everyone.
Al Gore.
Al Gore, yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, well, we're going to have all these electric cars, and then these electric cars are going to work as backup batteries, so at night we can charge them, and during the day we can pull electricity off of them. However, in America, it's illegal to use your car as a backup battery.
Oh, why is that?
Because they won't come up with a what they call an IEE standard for it or whatever.
Yep.
I have found multiple people who make the equipment, and I can get it from China. And if we lived in Europe, China, or India, I could do what I want to do.
Okay.
But they run on it, not only just they run on 220, which I need 220 anyway. But I think they run on a different hertz. So it wouldn't work out, and it's not legal. I'm less worried about that.
Totally.
But there are so many. There's a couple of companies that say we have we have the equipment. Blah blah blah. We'll let you know when we can ship it, which means we'll let you know when Congress decides that it's going to be legal. So I have two 62 kilowatt hour batteries sitting in my driveway that are just for driving my car instead of backing up my house. So we are actually planning on adding a battery because we are worried about the coming blackouts.
Sure. Yeah. So, okay, the main, a few reasons, but a few months ago, I read a bunch of articles about a lady. I reached out to her to try to get her on the show. She wasn't super interested, and that was okay. But her articles had a preparedness bent to them, because one thing that I found, and I think it's changing, but we chatted a little about this earlier too, that the preparedness field, maybe 50%, I don't know, I hate to throw a number at it, but around half, it seems, are anti-electric car, whether it's Elon's going to shut them off, or you can't fill up an electric car on the side of the road, or, there's all them stupid memes, right? Like I had one the other day that my a relative posted and said that it was something like an electric car could only hold its heat for 2 hours if it's on the side of the road. And I rarely get into it, but I sent him an article that showed him that a Tesla could run for about twice as long as a gas vehicle at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever. Anyway, it didn't matter. So why do you think there's a bit of hesitancy in the preparedness field with electric vehicles?
I'm not sure. I sent you the pictures of mine. Mine are not Teslas. Mine are the most economy electric car you can get. They're Nissan.
Yes. Nissan Leaf?
Yeah. And I've got two of them, a 2019 and a 2020, or is it a 2020 and a 2021? I'm not sure.
That's
but
okay.
They're the same car. They're the exact same car. The funny thing is you will not believe how insanely fast these cars are. When I was in high school, I used to do import builds and import racing and Fast and Furious stuff before it was cool.
Okay.
These cars are way faster than anything I've ever built.
Really?
2 weeks ago, I was pulling onto I'm a truck driver, so I knew the area, and 475 is the entrance is 3 lanes wide off of Dort Highway, but there were 2 lanes of cars that were just like 5 deep, and I'm like, I know I'm faster than you guys, so I pulled down to the 3rd lane and pulled to the front. Light turned green, and I didn't even really take the car out of eco mode. I just kind of took off, and I could just hear a car just hammering, just yin, 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 yin. And I'm like, I look in the side view mirror. It's one of those mid-engine Corvettes, the brand new mid-engine Corvette.
Yeah. Yep.
I floored it and left them in the dust.
Really?
Yes.
So what does
the car does like 0 to 60 in 3 or 4 seconds.
There's no hesitancy, right? It's all, or like you just put your foot to the floor and you've got it all. Is that the idea?
There's the fact that there's no transmission. You might be able to take off in first gear, but
as soon as you hit second gear, I'm in first gear from 0 to 150. I accelerate as fast from 80 to 20 as I do from 0 to 20.
Really?
Yeah, that's really where you get it, is in the high end. Once you start, seeing cars hit their second and third gear, I'm just gone.
So I just got a question from over. Are you okay with taking a few questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go back to what you and I, but okay. So Dan's over in Telegram, and he said, I can't bring it over because it's in Telegram. Anyway, but he says buying an electric car when they're forcing you into it is expensive. It is cheaper right now to keep driving our 22-year-old GMC pickup. So, and yes, I'm sure there's some truth to that. So, yes. Because right now electric vehicles are more expensive, right?
I think so. Both of mine were like 45,000. So
that's it.
Yeah, they're economy. Now the thing that got us, so at the time we had a 2010 van that a 2010 Honda Odyssey, where they had a recall on it for the number one cylinder. The rings would go bad and it would foul the plug.
Okay.
Now that happened the first time I replaced the plug. When I had to replace the second plug, I'm like, okay, this is a problem. We're trading it in. So I real quick put a brand new plug in it. We drove it to the dealership. We traded it in.
Yep.
Put a plug in it, cleared the codes, and traded it in. Got like $5,000 on it. This, that, and the other. We ended up leasing our gray car for we're paying like $300 a month, which is cheaper than you would pay for gas back when we bought it. Back when gas was less than half of what we have.
Right.
And so we're like, wait, for $300 we're getting this, $300 a month we're getting this car. I'll definitely take it. And then I was like, get me another one immediately. I was like, just get me another one. Mm-hmm. They gave me a veteran discount and stuff like that too. And the salesman was absolutely awesome. He had to go all over the United States to find us one. He found us another one, and we bought them both. And couldn't be happier with them, honestly.
So were there, so that 300, is there some sort of government rebate that's making that a little cheaper?
A little, yes. So we got, because the gray one is a lease.
Yep.
So Nissan got the rebate.
Okay.
Because Nissan technically owns the car.
Right.
Yeah. So, but on our Blue Leaf, we're paying like $800 a month for that one, and we did get a $7,500 tax credit, and the tax credit for that and a tax credit from our solar, honestly, is the only reason why we got a tax return this year.
Okay.
And I mean, they're not messing around with these tax, and these are tax credits, not write-offs.
Right.
There's the difference is taking $7,000 off of the $80,000 I made last year, or taking $7,000 off of the $8,000 I owe in taxes.
Right. Oh yeah. So that credit comes off what you owe?
Yes, the credit comes off what you owe, because if it was like write-offs, you get like 30. So like if you have like a $5,000 write-off, it's only going to take a couple $1,000s off what you owe, because it's reducing what you made,
Sure.
So a write-off would be like, well, I made $80,000 with a $5,000 write-off. I pay taxes on $85,000.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But the credits straight come off which wasn't.
Sure. Your audio got just a little quiet there for a second, if that's sorry. Okay. No worries.
I'm trying to bring the computer back up too.
No, you're doing good, man. You did great. I'm glad. I was worried you'd panic when your computer died. So that's all. You're doing awesome. So yeah. And of course, I'm a big fan of the rebate. Like, okay, the government's going to steal our tax dollars, whether we have the choice or not. I mean, you can't, if you choose not to, eventually men with guns are going to come and put you in jail. That's just simple as that. Yeah. Right. So why not take advantage of any opportunity you can to get a little bit of that back? And in this instance, those tax rebates seem to be a good way, or tax credits, sorry, seem to be a really good way to get a little bit of that back. Do you think, James, or?
Yes, not the reason I did it, but
No,
but I'm gonna take every dollar I can get.
100%. Sure.
You know, it's I'm what do you call it? I'm biased, but I don't think veterans should have to pay taxes. Um, I don't think anyone should have to pay taxes, but definitely not veterans.
I'd be happy with that. So, okay, talk a little more about the ongoing costs because you've had them for a couple of years right now, or how long have you had your Leafs now?
About a year and a half, and the ongoing costs are zero.
So you haven't. What about oil changes?
Why? There's no oil. We were joking around. The guy who did the financing, he said he'd throw in oil changes and transmission flushes for free.
So no oil changes. And am I incorrect when I've heard that there's significantly less moving parts or significantly less parts in general in an electric vehicle? Is that correct as well?
Right. And in fact, you don't even use your brakes.
Really?
Yeah, the electric motor slows the car down, does most of the work slowing the car down.
So the chances of ever replacing the brakes are probably fairly slim too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the only thing you have to worry about, and I mean, they come with 80,000 mile super efficient tires too.
Okay.
These cars they're made 100% for efficiency.
What's the lifespan of a Leaf? Do they have an idea roughly, or?
The battery is warranted for 100,000 miles.
Okay. How many have you put on so far?
I think I'm at the blue car that we own is at 36, and
okay.
I think the other car is 9 or 10 or something like that.
Okay.
The reason why so many miles is because we were actually using them for DoorDash, Walmart delivery, stuff like that. Because why not? You're not paying for gas.
That's what. I was just thinking that makes the payback or the hourly wage from those significantly higher for you.
Yes, and
right.
What worked out when my wife was doing it? What worked out was that there were two of them, because she would do 3/4 of the day in the blue car that we owned.
Yep.
And put all the miles on the blue car, but after 3/4 of the day were over, the car was almost dead. So switched to the gray car and put a couple, put some miles on the gray car. But like I said, it was all profit.
Okay, so how about long distance driving? That right now seems to me like that'd be a huge pain in the ass. Have you figured it out?
Yes, and it can be. This is where being prior military or prepper or whatever, you plan ahead. I was going to show the app, but I can't get my phone to show on, or I can't get my computer to fire up right.
That's okay.
So we have multiple apps for charging, but the main one is ChargePoint. And when we do long trips, we usually use the lease because of the fact that the high-speed charging is hard on the battery.
I understand. Okay.
So do it on the back of the phone, right?
Yeah.
So we take the lease usually for the long trips, and you look ahead, and the car will tell you how far it's going to go.
Right.
And you're like, okay, I'm going to need to charge here. You get on ChargePoint, and it'll tell you the Leaf uses either the J1772, which is the 220 plug.
Yep.
Those take 12-14 hours for a full charge. But they also use, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's called CHAdeMO. And I sent you the pictures with them. The big one to the left, that's your CHAdeMO. That's a 400-volt DC charger.
Oh, okay.
And it charges the car in about an hour.
Okay.
From nothing. The thing is your fastest charge rate is between 20 and 80%.
Right.
It'll charge at like 30 kilowatts an hour until you hit 20%, and then from 20 to 80%, it'll charge at like 50, 60 kilowatts an hour. But when you hit 80%, it starts slowing down again. When you think about it, say we spend 30 to 45 minutes at a gas station. even when you get gas, you're spending 15 to 20 minutes there.
Well, I was going to say, so that's been my 15 minutes to me seems to be kind of 20 sometimes, but when we're on long trips and we're rushing, we're like, because when Becky and I were in the States, for instance, we stayed in Nashville, and then we drove in one day from Nashville to Daytona Beach. And that was about a 10-hour drive. And normally we would be about a 15-minute stop somewhere. So right now, are you saying it's closer to a half hour? Or is it, could you?
It depends how much you're getting. 45 minutes. It depends on how much you need.
Okay.
And there are things that you don't think about until you start experiencing them in the electric car. One is your regenerative braking, which is cool. And you take your foot off the gas and you watch it add a mile back to your drive distance.
Okay.
Because it's using the motor to brake the car by charging the battery with the motor. So you get a little bit back by that, not a lot.
Yep.
And again, like the physics says, starting and stopping is harder than keeping going. But there are little things that everything adds up. Turning on the heat takes a bit off. And the one that I didn't expect that was a super surprise was the wiper motors.
Really?
Yeah, the wiper motors, like from a full charge, say I'm sitting in the driveway with a full charge and it's raining, it'll be like, you have mile range of 213 miles. Turn on the wipers and it immediately drops to like 205.
No, wow. Okay.
But you think that's a pretty big high torque motor.
Yep, sure it is. And
if it's running nonstop, that's it. So that gets you. The AC gets you. It's not like a gas car. Every little thing is a negative, because the only way you're charging that battery back up is by charging that battery.
Right.
So every little thing you turn on, the radio takes mileage off, not a lot, but
a
little bit. And I mean, the car's a rolling computer. It's got it'll tell you every little thing you want to know if you're willing to look for it. It'll tell you how much the audio system's using, how much the regenerative braking is adding, and every little use. It's every little thing that's using electricity, the car will tell you.
So what is your from full, like, or I don't know, 100% capacity, if you left home and you drove highway speeds, what's your distance or time for sure?
Like 215 miles.
Okay.
But you're going to want to find some place, because it's not like you can pull over anywhere.
Right.
You plan your trips ahead. So like, I was like, oh, I've got 215 miles. So you find your charging stations, like, okay, if I've got 215, I'm going to want to charge at like 150, because sometimes you get to a charging station and it's out of order.
Right.
And you're like, oh crap, I have to be able to get to the next charging station.
Sure.
So you find more charging stations, and it's not just because I'm a nerd, but contingency after contingency after contingency, like they call it. I forget what it is. I'll remember. But your primary PACE, primary alternate contingency emergency.
Yep, absolutely.
So you you're like, I'm going to stop here. If I can't make it here, I'm going here. If I can't make it there, I'm screwed. But because you're out of battery at that point. Like if this one's out of order, go to the next one. If that one's out of order, go to the next one. Like,
and do you get better range? Okay, because I know in the States, especially the interstates, they love to drive. So at like, when we were down in Florida, it was 90 mile an hour on the interstate. But do you get better range if you go a little less, or there's no real mileage benefits there?
I've never really bothered about it. Like, I could tell you that car is so aerodynamic on the interstate. I don't need my wiper blades. The rain, unless it's raining really, really hard, the rain immediately wicks off or actually goes around the car.
Okay. Very cool.
So, which is good because wiper blades use a lot of energy.
Yes.
But as for highway speeds, I don't know. I will say that one of the things, the car makes absolutely no noise except the tire noise, and it's so soundproof you can barely hear it. And if you don't set the cruise control, you will look down and you will be going 120 miles an hour.
Fair enough.
Because also you don't have a transmission telling you, that you're shifting gears.
You're not getting any
Stuff
feedback
like
there,
you
right?
have no feedback at all. Just all of a sudden you're like, oh no, I'm going 100 miles an hour. All right, we're trying to connect back into the studio. So
Sure, it might not. It says devices are not connected right at the moment, but
yeah, I can. I'm
okay. You can see it.
I don't know if it's because I'm on twice.
That's okay. I'm going to kick you out of the studio again, okay? And
Sure.
then you might pop back up. So we're going to do something live here, guys. Sorry, everybody. And kick from studio. There we are. Okay. And now see if he pops back in, guys. Says device is not connected. Live TV, we always have a little bit of fun. So I've learned a fair bit already about the adaptive braking, which recharges your batteries. I'm going to, let's try kicking him out one more time here. There we go. So the adaptive braking is super cool. Yeah, so it sounds like long distance driving. You get about 3 hours at this point, perhaps. A little nerve-wracking. We'll get into here in just a minute the local driving, because that to me seems like that's where the sweet spot is, because again, every night you get to come home, you park your car, you plug it in, you use your rates at whatever that happens to be. Another thing I'll have to get James to talk about a little bit is what the cost of getting that is on what if there's different costs in the electricity going on the highway, going off the highway, that kind of thing. And if I was wondering also if the Nissan Leaf, if you're leasing, if they offer rebates or kickbacks on your electricity use, because that was the other thing that I was kind of worried about. Or, that to me, that would be a great incentive to get someone to buy an electric vehicle from you, would be to just do that, to go and say, hey, we'll give you, I don't know, 10 cents off, 10% off, whatever it is. Yes, Dan, I'm going to get him to, so Dan just asked over on Telegram, and this is really cool. So he wants to know how much his electric bill went up. And the really cool thing about James is that he also implemented solar at home right now. So we're going to get into it here. I know we're almost 45 minutes in, guys, so I apologize, but I've been wanting to dig into this a lot. But he's into net metering. So a lot of times, from what I understand, his home actually generates surplus power. But yes, he does almost all of his charging at home. And yeah, he also, we might even have time to get into it. There he is now. Hey, James, how are you now, bud?
I'm still on my phone. Sorry. I don't know what.
Okay. Whatever. No big deal. We're good anyway. So, okay. Couple quick questions. Then we're going to talk about home charging, but what is the charge? How much does it cost to, I don't know if you call it fill up or charge your vehicle on the road at like other people's charging stations?
$6-7 for like 200 miles.
Okay. So are you about 3 hours? Do you need to make sure you stop? Do you get about 3 hours of driving time on the highway before you absolutely need to stop?
Yeah, something like that, right around there. Because the network just isn't there, especially in Michigan.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like I have access to the Tesla network that, the car will tell you where to stop and for how long. I have to find a plug that is compatible with my car and stuff like that. They're not standard.
They're getting better though. Am I right about that? Right. Or they're trying to?
Yeah, unfortunately, they're standardizing on a plug that my car does not have.
Right.
So that is part of the problem. But yeah, I mean, it's what do you call it? Range anxiety is a real thing.
Okay. So
really,
then,
yeah.
Did you say $5 to $7 on the road to charge your vehicle?
Yeah, it's
okay. Now, what if you do it at home?
I have solar. It's free.
Sure. Okay. What if I did it at home, or someone else who lived in Michigan did it at home? Would it be cheaper?
It's cheaper than gas, definitely.
Okay. But
I mean,
less than that, $5 to $7 probably.
well, it's a 62 kilowatt battery, and we pay 17 cents with all the fees per kilowatt. So what are you looking at there? Like
Right, 17 cents times
$1.20.
62. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So okay, yeah. So it's not much.
No, and I charge my car once a week.
Really?
Yeah, I only drive 10 miles to and from work, so 20 miles a day. But I charge a car maybe once a week.
So here's this is my cheap, I think this is the sweet spot for electric vehicles right now, especially like you said, is your home use, like your home base, because I mean 90% of the average user's use of a vehicle is commuting to work, getting groceries, driving within a certain radius of your home base, right? And so you just bring it home. You never have to stop at a charging station when you're just commuting to and from work, right?
There are none in my area.
Oh, how far is the closest one?
There's a town like Birch Run has it. They have one, but it's not the high power one, so I'm better off just making it all the way home.
Okay.
I don't even know probably the closest high power charger would be probably Saginaw, which is 20-30 miles from here.
Okay. So for you then, let me just, so I want to, so you charge your vehicle once a week. So if you say 4 times a month is what you would need to charge at 62 kilowatts. So you'd be adding it for the average. Well, I don't say average, but if you weren't using solar, maybe 250 to 300 kilowatts a month from home charging, right?
Right. For 17 cents a kilowatt.
Right.
My uses more electricity than my electric car.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. Because Dan wanted to know how much your electricity bill would have, or did it go up, is what he was asking. And so that's about what it would go up for kind of an average typical 10-mile commuter.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. And then he wanted to know, are the energy rates for those chargers, are they government subsidized rates? Do we know at all?
Okay. You can get. So what I did is I installed my own RV plug. The thing plugs into an RV plug, the 3 flat blades and then the bottom. So I installed that myself.
Okay.
And which most people wouldn't be able to do that. So that it cost most people a couple $100 to install that. And then I used the charger that came with the car. The ones that are subsidized, like the electric company would come out and install it, and then they would know everything about how you charge your car. And
right.
My main thing is and they'll shut it off. Just like I won't give them access to my thermostat for $50 extra. Like, we'll give you a $50 gift card if you give us access to your thermostat.
Right.
Shut it off when it's 110 degrees. No, thanks.
So
yeah, especially during then, that's when we're producing the most solar.
So let's talk about of course, this is, to me, it sounds like the match made in heaven. Solar panels on your roof to charge an electric vehicle, of course, that you have control over. So is that something, how does that fit into preparedness? I mean, I kind of know the answer, but yeah, because you're a prepper, a bit of a homesteader. How does that kind of all come together for you?
So we kind of talked about it a little bit before the show. I can make solar power out at my house. Can you make gasoline at yours?
Unless I eat beans. Sorry.
That's the answer I usually get is only if I eat beans, or if I drink too much milk. I can, no matter what, I can charge my car.
Sure. Yes. Maybe slow, maybe fast, but you're going to have, a bit of, what kind of storage capacity do you have with your solar system?
None right now. We are planning on adding a battery because America can't get their act together on vehicle to house electric.
Okay.
The cars are set up for it, and the equipment exists for it, but the American laws do not exist for it. They're dragging their feet on it. It goes even further. They don't want us to.
Right.
So I had a huge push to get solar. Like, I had to get solar on my house immediately. We were basically eminent domain by our electric company from our old house.
So what for? I'm sure most know, but that means they basically say, "Here's some money. We're taking your house," right?
Oh, it was about a year battle. It started out. The funny thing is we were on our way to Home Depot to go get some stuff to remodel our bathroom. Some guy pulls into our driveway, and it was a long driveway, and he pulls into the driveway, blocks the driveway, and he's like, "I'm from Consumers Energy, and I'm here to buy your house." I'm like, "It's not for sale." He goes, "Well, we have eminent domain rights as a utility, and we're going to give you 89,000 for it because that's what you bought it for."
Huh. Okay.
No, we bought it during the downturn, and the house was worth 200. And it was a year. So eventually, we told that guy to pound sand, and there was a second guy. Second guy argued back and forth, and I told him pound sand, you know. And then the third guy basically came clean with me almost immediately. And you're gonna love this. He says to me, "Yeah, we know your house is worth 190, 200,000. We're gonna give you 140 with a $10,000 inconvenience fee, and you can sue us, and we will have to pay you $200,000, but it will cost you $50,000 to do it." Took 10 seconds to call a lawyer and find out, yeah, it was going to cost them $50,000 to sue them to get the money they owed us, and he was at our break-even point. And
Okay.
we had to take it, or the men in costumes with guns and kick us out of our house. So we ended up selling our house for 3/4 of what it was worth because of the power of government, and it wasn't for sale.
Right.
So I was immediately, I'm getting solar because screw you guys, you're going to owe me money now for the rest of my life. I want to be a red mark on your books, you know. Call a couple of solar companies. One comes out, and it became kind of a hurry because consumers did away with their net metering program. We got in 13 days before it was ended. And the way net metering works is every kilowatt I pump into the grid, I take out of the grid, like a battery.
Right.
What they do now is wholesale retail. Every kilowatt I take out of the grid, I pay 17 cents a kilowatt. Every kilowatt I put into the grid, they give me 8 cents back.
So you're basically a power generator at this point.
They make you, that's what they call it, like remote generator state.
Oh my God.
Something like that, as if you were a utility versus using the grid battery. We got in like I said, 10 or 13 days before the cutoff. We signed the contract in December. It ended at January 1st. We didn't get our solar till like April. But as far as consumers knows, it was installed in December.
Sure.
So we got that. Now, the other thing that they've started doing is if we are 1 day late on our bill, they send us a shutoff notice. Because
I know why.
And if they shut us off, it ends our ability to stay on the net metering.
Wow, that's dirty. Oh my God.
They are so freaking dirty, and I can't stand them. But
oh, James, that is
you know.
Yeah. First they take your house, and now they put you on a list that you. Oh my God. I know exactly. Yeah, Becky and I have dealt with shitty electric companies over the years, and that's unreal. Wow. Okay, so yeah, and we know they're shitty. So so you had what was your capacity of solar? I know you had to haul them down because you had a leaky roof because of shitty installation, right? Not on your part, but the people you paid for.
Yes. And so we have 9.6 kilowatt hours.
Okay.
Which it's awesome in the summer and not so much in the winter. Michigan is not the greatest place for solar,
right?
Especially in the winter. So for like 6 months, we 6 months we have nothing basically. And I mean, I was going to bring up the graphs and stuff, but
that's okay. We can do another one down the road, man. I'd love to.
So right, and what sucks about not having solar right now is June, July, start of the months. We just absolutely kill it, you know. But it seems like every summer for the past 3 years, something's gone wrong. We've had inverters go down. Like right now, the panels are removed so he can inspect the roof. It seems like every summer something goes wrong during one of our high productivity months.
So were you able last summer? Were you able? I mean, when everything was functioning properly, do you have central air or air conditioners? What do you? Yeah. Was it able to run your air conditioners?
Yeah. Well, you.
Of course, it's a back and forth. Like you don't really know, probably.
Have no idea where the electricity is coming or going from. So, yeah, the AC runs fine. The everything seems to run fine. Our gas and our electric are all together, and our energy bill is $250-300 a month, and that's with 2 electric cars.
Okay. Wow.
A lot of people that would kill just to have the $200 electric bill without the electric cars.
So if you implemented some sort of storage, would you could you still do net metering?
We would still, yeah, they don't know what's going on our side of the meter.
Fair enough. So all it would do is it would work like a bucket. Once the batteries were full, then the charge would, yeah. So then you could probably, I'm just guessing, but you could come awfully close to being break even, couldn't you? Or at least with a decent amount of storage?
Well, the goal for the storage is we're mostly afraid of the blackouts.
Yes.
I do have a whole house generator. It's a twist lock, 220
sure.
And a generator, a regular, pull start generator. But we want to have the battery for backup storage, because the thing is even with the generator, so if the power goes off because we're on net metering and we lose grid power, we lose solar power.
Oh.
So, but if we have the backup battery, the solar continues producing.
Okay.
That's a safety thing, because so the linemen don't have hot lines that are being backfed by my inverters.
Yeah.
So the inverters are constantly testing the line to make sure there's power on the line before they backfeed. And the second there's not power on the line, the inverters shut off for lineman safety.
Yep.
So,
wow. Okay.
So, but if it was pushing into the battery and then the battery was pressing into the grid, what happens is the battery realizes there's no grid power, continues to receive solar, powers the house off the battery.
Right. And then shuts off, or doesn't feed anymore into the grid until it needs to feed it into your batteries.
Right. And that's one of the things that's you can save money. So consumers has forced us onto another thing, which is this time of use garbage. And from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., our electricity is at 1.5 times the rate.
Wow.
So you can actually make your money back, even if you don't have solar, with a whole house battery by charging it at night and then running your house from 2 to 7 off of the battery.
That's great. Sure, you could.
And then, yeah, that's kind of a selling point for the Tesla solar wall.
Yep.
And one of the things, like, it's been brought up back to the cars with the hot swap batteries.
Talk about that a little, because I'm wondering.
Tesla had that program and he canceled it before it went live. He did a big presentation, and on stage he changed the batteries in 3 cars and the amount of time it took his assistant to fill his car at the gas station.
Well, that's what I was getting at. Like, I mean, to me, that's one of the best things about cordless tools is I don't have to frig with gas, period. And it's way quicker. Snap, and it's done.
Right. And this was like, it was a really cool thing. Well, it's the Tesla. So, I mean, again, it's all proprietary.
Yes.
That's the other thing. Like, there's multiple Nissan Leafs, and Nissan's got this new Aria, I think they're calling it, that's coming out. That's another electric vehicle.
Okay.
Different batteries. But the Tesla Model S the floor pan is the battery, and it's removable by like 8 bolts. So this thing came up, undid all 8 bolts at once, dropped that battery, moved it, brought in a fresh battery, put it up, and 8 impacts at once. Boom. Bye, see ya. 15 seconds on the battery swap.
Right. And guaranteed it'll come down to the point where they could do that modularly. You know what I mean? Like if you can do it with 8 bolts now, you can do it with a couple of quick removal clips if they wanted to.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you've got 8 impacts running at once, or I'm thinking because so the little bit evil here, I would have done that when my battery capacity started getting bad.
Sure. Yeah.
When I've got 1,000 miles on a battery, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go swap it out, get myself a new battery.
It's like doing the propane tank swap, right? When your propane tank's almost expired, you go in and do the quick swap, right? So,
Now, I pulled them out of the scrapyard and gone to Home Depot's unmonitored one. Yep. Out of the scrapyard, take my fresh tank. Have a nice day.
Absolutely, yeah, okay.
It's only full, but I got a new tank out of it.
So, if you, I know this wasn't, I don't know if this was one of your questions or not, but what would you say the advantages and the disadvantages of electric versus gas are for you? What have you found what are the big selling points and what are the things you wish were better?
The charging network is an issue.
Okay.
Not going to lie there. The other thing is I run a small farm. The Nissans cannot carry trailers. So it's always interesting when you put 400 or 500 pounds of duck feed in the trunk of a little hatchback car.
Right. Wobble a little.
Then you've got the things of trying to move like 10-foot T-posts, stuff like that, and you're trying to stuff them basically into a Honda Civic.
Right.
So those are really my only downsides. Is I wish I had a truck.
Okay.
If Ford would sell me their freaking F-150 Lightning, I would buy it right now.
I would love to have one of those, actually. Yes.
I am on the list. I have been on the list for 2 or 3, maybe 4 years for that freaking Cybertruck. He won't build it, but he's got my $100, so he's happy.
So what's the furthest trip you've taken?
Oh, I've gone all the way across Michigan for my job. And it's usually so like 300-400 miles. You're not going.
Okay.
It is not, just because of the unreliability of the charging network. Tesla, whole nother world. It really is.
But I listened to John Bush quite a bit, and he has from Exit and Build. I don't know. Yeah. So he has a Tesla and 2 Powerwalls, I think. But again, the Tesla's what, 70, 80,000, the Powerwalls. So, we're talking, I mean, the technology's there, but the cost is still extraordinary, and he has solar as well, which is great. But yeah, because the Leaf is really, I mean, $40,000, that's kind of entry level for almost any vehicle at this point.
Right. And ours are the higher end Leafs because we got the 62 kilowatt hour batteries.
Sure.
We got the Leaf SL Pluses because we wanted the bigger batteries.
Yep.
They have a smaller battery version that's even less.
Wow. Which would be great for someone who lives in a city, I would assume, or something like that.
They're not charging these things in an apartment.
Oh, right. Never thought of that. Yeah. But I'm sure, yeah. Chicken Hawk, he drives a hybrid, so he's kind of familiar with the electric end of things. Wanted to know, could you do any sort of roof rack? Obviously not with the lease, but what about the owned one? Not a doable?
No, I don't think I'd want to. I've not thought about it really. There's really no way to do it, and that thing is so aerodynamic, and there's no real good way to do it. I'm sure it probably exists, but it's not been anything on my radar. When I have to do big things, I take the semi.
Sure. Or, I mean, now I'm not saying this is what you'd want to do all the time, but again, Home Depot rents vans. I think a lot of them rent trucks. So if you're not somebody that needs to do it every single week, those are options that are still going to bring you in way cheaper for usage than a gas truck.
I've got neighbors, and I can my computer just shut off again.
That's okay, no worries.
So it was just weird. I've got neighbors I can always borrow a truck or have them do stuff. I've got good relationship with my neighbors, and we're all homesteaders and we're all veterans.
That's important.
We get along pretty good, and like when it comes to feed, I'm kind of working with the neighbor when he starts buying feed. I'm going to buy a couple 100 pounds with him, because if he's already hauling half a trailer, why not haul a whole trailer?
Sure. Yeah.
I'll pay half, whatever, or I'll pay all your gas. I don't care at that point. You're helping me more than I'm helping you. But the biggest downside is trying to run a homestead basically out of 2 Honda Civics.
Okay, I can see that. Sure. But you know what? I'm not saying that. I mean, again, my wife and I, when we first got married, had a Dodge Neon. You remember how tiny those were? And we homesteaded out of a Dodge Neon. We made it work. I mean, we were broke ass poor. And we would go with our 3 kids at the time, so the 5 of us, our little dog, and we'd go get a week's worth of groceries and 3 or 4 bags of feed and pile it all in the Dodge Neon and drive home on the dirt roads. Was it perfect? It wasn't even close, but we made it work. And if you needed something, we wanted a goat. We actually considered putting the goat in the back seat of the Neon, but we didn't. We paid a lady to bring the goat to us. So there are solutions, right?
Yeah, one of our hard parts was we were taking our ducks to get processed, and we could basically do 10 a day, and 10 at a time, because we would have to put them in 2 different dog kennels and put the the dog kennels into those little cars.
But you made it work, right?
Made it work. But I bought my own plucker and scalder. I haven't done it yet. That's going to be a learning experience, and I'm sure I'm going to mess it up bad.
That's okay. Yeah, and you know what? We got wiener pigs one time. So, like 6-week, 8-week-old pigs in a van, and it was a rental van because our car had crashed. So we just put down, we had boxes, whatever. You make it work, right? So Rachel wants to know, can you replace the plug that is not as compatible with a Tesla plug for less charging issues?
They make an adapter from the CHAdeMO for a Tesla plug, but they say, so the Tesla network is not stupid. You're plugging a computer into a computer. It's not just like plugging into your wall outlet.
Right.
So, it's not that the car won't accept the charge. It's that the Tesla network will say, you are not a Tesla. I will not give you power.
Really? So it won't even give it to you at a lower speed? It just won't give it to you at all?
Because a lot of Teslas, I think sometimes you're charged, but sometimes it's free.
That's what I was. So is there any, that's what, while you popped off for a minute, I was thinking out loud. Does Nissan offer discounted rates for electricity if you lease from them or no?
At the Nissan dealers, they have the J1772 chargers, which are the 220 volt slow chargers. Well, they're called level 2 chargers. They're not a level 3, they're level 2, but in a super pinch, you can get to a Nissan. If you can get to a Nissan dealer, they will have a plug for you. And
it's free?
It's free, yeah.
So that's like every city councils, every town hall, the malls, those plugs they put in years ago, just as a, hey, come to our town because we have free electric car charging, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it's not very fast.
Right, yeah. Or like when you stay at a hotel and they have them, and because overnight you can charge, right?
Yes, and when my wife went out of town for a funeral, she stayed at a hotel that did allow her to charge the car, and that was honestly a big draw for us to use that hotel, because that car, and and it's not even the money of the electricity, it is the convenience of not having to find a charging station.
Are they typically in convenient spots, or are they, or no? Okay, fair enough.
They're usually off the highway, or there'll be like a lot of colleges have them. Sometimes where the electric company is, sometimes they'll have them. It depends on what gas station wanted to put them in, and they're not a insignificant investment for these, because I hauled gas for a small truck stop company, and they had looked into it, and it was like $100,000 for them per station to have it installed.
Wow.
They've got to get 440 voltage to it, and you're not getting that at your house. So
right.
So yes, so they decided not to do it, even though a couple of their stations were right off the interstate, because just in this economy and everything like that, they're not going to get $100,000 back off of electric cars very quickly, especially little as it costs to charge. A 3/4 charge is like $7-8, and even when you think about the fact that I got $3 or $4 worth of electricity, you still only made like $4. And gas stations make their money on sodas and chips, so the draw there is you are spending 30-40 minutes there with nothing to do but go into the gas station and spend money. So hopefully you make your draw there, but the company I work for decided it wasn't worth it.
I think it's gonna. I don't know. I really think it's gonna change. I just think the whole idea of the gas station is. I don't know. I don't think maybe it won't be around in the future, or it'll be something different, because you're just, especially if they figure out this rapid charge thing where you can charge in, say, 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. If they could get a 50 to 80% charge, you're just going to pull up to a bunch of charging depots or whatever. Like they're putting in a Tesla charging in Lloydminster, an hour away from us, and it's just an empty, unused space right off the highway where you just pull in, plug in, and keep going. And if you could do it in 5 minutes, most people aren't going to need a lot of necessities there, but maybe the gas stations will. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where all the changes come.
It is actually funny, when I was hauling gasoline, one of the terminals where I would pick up fuel, they had lots and lots of pictures of Tesla charging stations hooked up to giant generators.
Right. I've seen that. Yeah.
The Tesla network is expanding so quickly. So basically your Tesla is diesel.
Right.
Because a lot of the charging stations are hooked to diesel generators, because that's the only way that they can get the high voltage out in the rural areas.
Sure. And I get that. And of course, the detractors, and I'm not, okay, I live in oil. I live in oil country. I'm an oil lover. I like my gas. I like, all of that. So that's neither here nor there. But I think the writing's on the wall and electric vehicles are coming. And a lot of people point at those pictures, the chargers being charged by diesel generators. Well, right now that is a stopgap measure to prop up a proper grid or a proper system, right? And the more use that people get into it, the more they're going to be able to expand those kind of systems, because the system itself is going to fund it. Of course, we don't want government to force it though, right?
Yeah, well, incentives, like the tax incentives and stuff like that. Like when you talk about, so say if my old boss could totally write that off, that $100,000 off for the install, then it might be worth it to him, But our taxes are so weird when it comes to the green energy and stuff like that. One year we've got massive incentives. The other year they've said, no, we're doing away with all of it, and back and forth and back and forth. The funny thing is the maintenance for my generator, about the early, first or second of every month, I fire up my generator and you got to put a load on it. I plug my car into it.
You put your what?
I plug my car into my
generator. That's great. Sure.
For my monthly maintenance for the generator, just because you got to fire it up and put it under a 3/4 load or whatever. I just plug the car in and charge the car off of. So sometimes my Leaf is a gas-powered car.
Right. But you're doing it either way. So yeah, I get it. That whatever. Yeah. We ran our generator today for that monthly maintenance, and yeah, I get it. So, go ahead.
It's a pretty heavy load too. So,
sure, it would be. Yeah. So if anything's going to frig it up, it would be that, because it's drawing quite a bit.
Yeah, and it's a 7 kilowatt generator, and if I bought a twist lock adapter so I could use the car, I cannot charge my car via 220 off the generator. It kills it, pulls it too hard, and it dies. So I've got our charger can do 220 or 110. So I've got a 110, and you can still hear that the motor fighting. You when the draw is on a generator, the change in the noise.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. My central air will kill I've got mine peaks out at just over 9,400 watts, I think. And my central air, it won't run it, because that high, the early on kick, that high spike in power. So yeah, well, that's cool. So you can only, and you've got what size generator do you have?
Like a 7,000.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And Oh, well, the car likes power.
Mhm. It'll take all it can get.
Yeah, as fast as it can take it. And it's doing that for your convenience.
Sure, I get it.
It's trying to charge itself as quickly as possible. And I thought it would take it, but I was surprised when I turned on the charger for the car and I hear the generator just immediately died.
That
So,
does surprise me. I'd be interested in knowing. Now, I wonder if I don't imagine there would be, if there'd be a big spike there to start, or if it's just the full draw that it's trying to pull.
because it's not even a start, it is a full draw. It's not like a starting draw. It's much nonstop.
Okay. So I'm gonna, if anybody has any questions for James, throw them out there in the comments while we're going. What do you think? So is an electric vehicle a prep? Is it good for preppers? Can it help you with preparedness?
So no matter what, it's not your bug out vehicle.
Okay.
It's not your bug out vehicle.
Good point.
But if you've got solar and you've got a generator or whatever, I'm not going to run out of sun.
Right. That makes sense.
Sun, the refineries aren't going to stop making sun. So, paired with the solar, it is just a perfect setup.
I like that. That's cool.
And honestly, what we're trying to do is we're going to get with another solar company that's not going to drill holes in my roof. And we've been talking about putting up basically like a carport where it's just so you just put the carport with like the pipes that they make. So they'll ram vertical pipes.
Yeah.
And just a roof of solar panels and two inverters, one for each car, with the built-in car chargers, and put 10, 12 more kilowatt hours on top of so we'd have our solar on our roof, and basically we'd be parking the cars under solar panels.
Sure.
And that would double our solar, and the chargers would be right there for the cars, and it would be able to so Solar Edge has inverters with electric car chargers built in. We have one. If we were to do that setup, I would do two more. That way there'd be a car charging inverter in each bay, and that would be a self-sustaining. It would always charge a car. We'd always be able to charge a car as long as the sun was up.
What a great place to stash a battery bank too, if you wanted to. I know it could be open, but if you had like just a little closed port or, whatever. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud, but I love that idea.
Yeah. Well, the battery, the battery, like a solar wall, a Tesla wall or whatever. We have Solar Edge equipment right now. So I would probably want to just keep it all together so I can run everything off of one app.
Sure.
I'll tell you all that, except for our technical difficulties.
That's okay.
We were, I could go. I know Generac. Generac, they're really pushing these Generac whole house systems with Generac panels and the Generac battery and inverters and stuff like that. But we have Solar Edge. That's what we have. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what we can do. I have to talk to an installer. But I would love to have some storage capacity because I'm really worried about these blackouts coming. And I'd love to increase how much solar I have. I really want to get into the negative energy. I really want to be a red mark I want consumers to owe me. Really want them to owe me, and I really want them to, I'm just one guy. But if there's enough guys like me that they owe power to, they have to explain that at board meetings. So like, well, how come we have 25 guys that you owe power to?
Oh.
I mean, because we did him dirty, and he's getting us back. Well,
this is a great episode. This was awesome, James. Thank you, buddy. This is great. So how do people find, if somebody had some questions or they wanted to pick your brain about solar, electricity, electric cars, what's the easiest way to find you?
We are GingerbreadFarmsLLC at gmail.com.
Okay.
We are Gingerbread Farms on Facebook.
Okay. And you don't mind if someone sends questions to you or anything?
No, and we have a lot of freeze dried stuff. We do a lot of drying. So if anyone's been listening to Nicole Sauce and wants freeze dried Skittles, I have tons of them.
So I don't say this to every guest, but in 2-3 months down the road, if you'd like to come back, I think we've got a lot more we could chat about too. If you're interested.
I'd definitely be interested. It's I don't get on your live. You haven't seen me on your live streams or anything.
That's
okay. I listen to you all the time, and but I work from 2 a.m. till 2 p.m. and like usually I'd be sleeping right now, but I've got tomorrow off. Yeah, that's why I'm not on the live streams, and I don't do a lot of the social media. I just got back into Facebook. That's why I really didn't have a lot to give you, because
don't worry about it. And the other thing is, if you're cool with it, if people send questions along to me, I can forward them off to you as well, if you're good with that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got no problem answering any questions. I love talking about this stuff. I could nerd out about this for days.
No, that's great. Oh, and you know what? Let's get this question right quick. We'll get one more question, then we'll wrap up here. So Jaggy says, how much charge do you get in the winter and on cloudy days, or countries where sun is limited?
I really wish I could have.
I know. I'm sorry.
We're like, if my solar was up right now, we'd be killing it. We would be way ahead. Summer's awesome. Winter, not so much. Michigan is not the greatest solar aspect because we're at like the 42, 43 area of latitude.
Yep.
And it's not like when I was living in Arizona. I'd love to put solar panels on my mom's house and have that power, but cloudy, snow sucks. Snow gets on panels and it's there, and the panels don't work. But in the summer, it's awesome. In the winter, not so much.
Have you found anything off topic? So I treated my one solar panel with Rain-X this winter. It did nothing. I was hoping it would keep some ice or snow off. Mine are on 45-degree tilt. Have you found anything to keep snow and ice off panels, or no?
Mine are on top of a 2-story building, on the roof of a 2-story building.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a ladder that can reach them, so I don't worry about it so much. Now your angle of your panels should be your latitude, and you are further than 45. You should be probably at a 46 or 47 pitch.
Yes, I just built mine because I had something the frame was 45, and I'm like, I'm going to stick with it for right at the moment. But yeah.
Aspect either, because they're bolted flat to, they're bolted to my roof. I'm like, well, do we want to put these at perfect aspect? And he said that he was more worried about damage if they're, pitched up a little bit more than the roof. I'm like, okay, I can handle that. And 1 or 2 more degrees wasn't going to make a difference.
So did they just get covered in snow and you just had to live with it in the winter? Was that the idea?
Yeah, you just live with it. Luckily they're black, so they'll warm up and heat up and melt off. But they do make some solar panels that have built-in heaters.
Okay.
But like all electronics, solar panels are electronics. They work better cold.
Yes.
So it seems counterintuitive, but you get more power from a direct winter sun than sometimes a summer sun because they're colder.
I got surprisingly good results all last winter with mine, and we don't get. I mean, we get a lot of sun. We get a lot of uncloudy days, but you can up here. I mean, the days are very short. Yeah. And so, yeah, but I still did really well. They kept top. I don't use a lot of my storage, but anyway, it was good. But yeah, I think we're an hour and a half, James. But so can you give out your email one more time there, just in case?
It is GingerbreadFarmsLLC all together at Gmail.
At gmail.com.
Yeah, and I think I gave it to you for the show notes or whatever.
Yep, and it is in the show notes too. So
we are Gingerbread Farms on Facebook, and I think Float too. I think I'm Gingerbread Farms MI on Float.
Okay. Well, thanks, James. This was I wanted to pick somebody's brain for a while on this, so thank you. It was a real pleasure, man.
I can go even deeper on this if you want to anytime.
Excellent. I'd be great. And if you want, you can hang around for just a second in the background while I close up, and then I'll be back with you.
No problems.
All right. Thanks, bud. Well, guys, I hope if nothing else, this opened some of our, I mean, we know solar's important. And I think no matter what, I think electric vehicles are going to be the way of the future. Whether they're forced on us or not, it doesn't really matter. They're just coming. So hopefully it opened some people's eyes on this. I'm excited. I'm going to have James back because he is a wealth of information and a really great interview. I enjoyed it a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And don't forget, Thursday, we have Cam and Colby from the Casual Preppers podcast coming on a half hour early, 6:30 Mountain Time. It'll be live here. And yeah, thank you guys. You know, it's the summer. I know you have lots of things to do, but I absolutely appreciate you guys dropping in. Thank you very much. And guys, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.